It is November 23rd, 2025, and if I only had 3 minutes to tell you about one news story, it would be this one. Because of course, officials from the US, Europe, and Kiev are in Geneva right now to hash it out over Trump's 28-point so-called peace plan for Ukraine. And Trump has apparently woken up today and decided that he is going to call out Zelensky, as he says that Ukraine has showed zero gratitude for all of these efforts by the US to bring about peace in their country. You know, because the US is just a third-party mediator here. Don't worry about the fact that we would not have this current war if it weren't for the US. And I'll get back to Zelensky, but before I do, I just want to note a few of these points that are mentioned in this plan, because sure, there are points that clearly Russia presented, right? The fact that Ukraine is going to have to agree to never join NATO, and that the remaining Ukrainian troops need to leave the Donbass region. But there are also a number of points included that I don't think Russia is going to agree to, which is why I think you're seeing Russian President Putin respond and say, hey, this deal would be the great basis for a future peace agreement. He's not coming out and saying he's going to agree to all 28 points. He's more so saying, yeah, let's keep these talks going. He also is saying that it's Kiev that does not want to agree to a deal, and he specifically pointed to the fight for Kupiansk, a key city in the Kharkov region, and he noted that while Russian officials were coming out and saying that they were on the cusp of taking full control of Kupiansk, well then Kiev was insisting that there were only a handful of Russian soldiers that were able to get into the city. And lo and behold, what do you know, that clearly wasn't the case, because guess who now controls that town? Russia. And so that's why you have the Russian president sitting there saying, hey, we can make a deal now and we can really hash this out and come to some sort of agreement, or we can keep playing this game, and guess what? Things are going to keep getting worse for Kiev. And I think we're seeing the US acknowledge that, as you have the US-backed so-called anti-corruption bureau in Kiev suddenly going after Zelensky, and you have the Telegraph declaring that the walls are closing in on him. And I think Putin's statement is the most telling here, because it is a reminder to all of us that Russia sees exactly what is going on here. They see that the US is once again trying to get them locked into a deal, and there are parts of these 28 points that are so vague when they're talking about security guarantees for Ukraine, right? They kind of leave it up to be hashed out later as a way for the US to never fully lift the sanctions on Russia, to never fully resolve this conflict. Call me skeptical, but I still don't trust the West, and despite all of the ongoing talks, I don't think that Russia fully does either, and that's something everyone should be talking about.